This man's name is Samuel. He is a playboy who guides a private cruise ship at a resort in Paris. That afternoon, Samuel asked permission from his boss to have a party on the beach behind the resort. The boss initially wanted to forbid him, but because he had worked very hard all day, she finally permitted Samuel as long as the party would be over right at 1 a.m. Samuel was very happy to hear that. He promised that right at 1 a.m. the party would be over, but in reality, he's still partying up until 5 a.m. In the afternoon, when Samuel woke up, he was surprised to see a woman at the front of the ship. The woman is Kristen. She came with a baby, saying that the baby's name was Gloria and that she was Samuel's biological daughter. He wondered how did he manage to have a child when he even forgot if he ever met Kristen before. Kristen tried to remind him that they had met at a bar in London where she worked. In the middle of the conversation, Kristen asked to borrow 20 euros to pay for a taxi, then asked Samuel to hold her child for a while. But when she went to pay for the taxi, instead of returning, Kristen ran away with the taxi, leaving her daughter with Samuel. Samuel immediately chased after her, but unfortunately, he lost track at the airport. In a panic, he decided to get on the next flight to England. Arriving at the London City airport because he could not speak English, Samuel looked for the bar where Kristen worked using the map. When he was in trouble, suddenly someone passed by while speaking French on the phone. Samuel then chased after him and asked for help. The man is Bernie. Unfortunately, Samuel forgot that he left Gloria and rushed to get her back while parkouring in between the crowd.
Oh putain! She's good!
Seeing how great Samuel was, Bernie was amazed. He then told Samuel that he was actually a manager at an actor distribution agency and currently was looking for a stuntman for the action film. Bernie then gave Samuel his business while inviting him to call if he was somehow interested in the job. After getting the direction, Samuel continued his journey to find the bar, but unfortunately, when he got to the bar, the waiter told him that Kristen had resigned from there. Samuel was in despair. He didn't know where else to look. With a heavy heart, he decided to go back to Paris, but at the airport, he realized that his wallet was missing. When he called his boss to ask for help, sadly, instead of helping him, his boss instead fired him for partying up until dawn at the resort. Hearing that, Samuel was silent in shock. Amid his turmoil, he remembered Bernie's business card, and without hesitation, Samuel immediately met Bernie and accepted his offer earlier, but because Samuel had no place to live in England, as the boss and a good friend, Bernie invited Samuel to live with him. Starting from that, Samuel's new life finally began. Over the years, Samuel continued to work as a stuntman. He was also used to taking care of Gloria alone until she was 8 years old. Every day, the little princess always accompanied her father in his work and helped to become a translator because even though Samuel had been in England for 8 years, he still couldn't speak English, but that day, while filming the scene of an accident, Samuel suddenly fainted. Everyone was panicking, but luckily, when Gloria approached and whispered something to him, Samuel immediately woke up. After shooting the scene, they both went home. Samuel had managed to buy his own house. To please his daughter, he even designed his house like a playground. That night, when they were hanging out with Bernie, Gloria suddenly heard a notification sound from her room. She happily ran while saying that it must be a message from her mother, when in reality, all this time, Samuel was the one sending messages every day as if Kristen had sent them to Gloria. He did it on purpose because he didn't want Gloria to be sad if she found out that her birth mother had left her. Not only that, but every night, Samuel also always sent messages to Kristen on Facebook. Even though he knew Kristen's Facebook account has been inactive for a long time, he still kept sending her messages, hoping that one day Kristen will read them. The next day, Samuel and Gloria went to the hospital for a routine checkup. In the middle of the examination, because the doctor wanted to talk alone with Samuel, the nurse asked Gloria to go with her. After Gloria left, the doctor told the cold truth that Gloria wouldn't live much longer. Turned out, all this time, Gloria suffered from a severe illness. The girl who looked healthy from the outside was struggling with a great life-threatening illness. Hearing the verdict just now made Samuel heartbroken, but nevertheless, as a father, he had to stay strong. After coming home from the hospital, Samuel and Gloria went for a walk at the amusement park. While standing alone, a woman suddenly took Gloria's hand because she thought Gloria was her daughter. When the woman apologized and left, Gloria was sad. All her life, she had never felt the love of a mother. At night, Samuel, who could no longer bear to see his little angel sad, sent a message to Kristen on Facebook and burst out into emotions. At first, Samuel thought Kristen's account wouldn't be active just like usual, but somehow, that night, her Facebook was online. Kristen's account was also seen starting to read the messages Samuel had sent one by one. Samuel panicked. Shortly thereafter, there was an incoming message notification from Kristen. In that message, Kristen invited Samuel and Gloria to meet in the park tomorrow. To read a message from Gloria's biological mother that her daughter had been missing all this time made Samuel very happy that he couldn't wait to see Gloria's happy face when she meets her mother. The next day, after all this time, the three of them finally met. After all the longing, Gloria invited Kristen to her house to spend time playing together. Until late at night, when Gloria was sleeping, Kristen told the truthful truth that the reason she left Gloria with Samuel was because she felt Gloria would only be a burden in her life. She apologized from the bottom of her heart, but even though she had apologized, Samuel was still angry with her. He really wanted to scold Kristen, but was afraid that his voice would wake Gloria. Day after day passed, and almost every day, Kristen came to accompany Gloria to play. Seeing her daughter happy made Samuel happy too, and slowly but surely, Samuel learned how to accept Kristen in his life. One night, when they were hanging out at the amusement park, Samuel suddenly proposed to Kristen. He said that he had always wanted to grant Gloria's request to be able to have a complete family like his friends, but Kristen didn't respond to it. She finally opened her mouth and told the truth that she had found another man and would soon be married to the man. The reason she decided to show up and spend her time with Gloria was because after getting married, she claimed to move to America. Samuel was disappointed, but he realized that from the start, Kristen appeared again just to meet her child, not to meet him. The next day at the restaurant, Kristen invited her boyfriend to meet Gloria and Samuel. They seemed to enjoy their time together. When Kristen and Gloria went to the toilet, Kristen's boyfriend tried to have a conversation with Samuel in English, but because Samuel couldn't speak English, he misunderstood him. He thought Kristen's boyfriend was laughing at him, and since that incident, he never liked him. The next day at the shooting location, Samuel told Bernie about the incident yesterday, and as a good friend, Bernie tried to calm him down. Shortly after, Gloria, Kristen, and Kristen's boyfriend came to the shooting location. Turned out it was Gloria who invited them. In the middle of the conversation, Bernie told Samuel to get ready for the next scene where he would jump from the 6th floor of a burning building. Samuel was scared and then told Gloria to persuade the director to allow him to jump from the 1st floor instead. Gloria, without hesitation, agreed to help, but when she spoke to the director, she said that her father could jump from the 11th floor. She did that to amaze her mother so that she would cancel moving to America and chose to stay with them. When the shooting started, Samuel was still smiling because he thought Gloria had managed to persuade the director, but when one of the crew told him that Gloria made the director made him jump from the 11th floor, he immediately got angry and asked to be put down. Hearing Samuel's nagging, the director was confused and then scolded Gloria. From above, Samuel, who couldn't bear to see his daughter being scolded, was finally willing to jump from the 11th floor. He did the scene as expected, but when he landed, he instantly fainted. As usual, Gloria tried to wake her father up, but minutes passed, Samuel hadn't woken up yet. Everyone started to panic and called an ambulance, but luckily, Samuel eventually gained consciousness. While being treated, Kristen asked what Gloria had whispered when he fainted. Samuel replied that it was not her business and made them argue. Kristen even mentioned the fake messages that Samuel sent to Gloria using her name. When Kristen wanted to leave, she was surprised to see Gloria standing behind the door. It turned out that Gloria had been there all the time and heard everything the two of them said. That night on the way home, Gloria asked to stay overnight at Kristen's apartment. Samuel initially forbade her, but when Gloria called him a liar, he was left in shock and decided to let her stay. When he arrived home, Bernie tried to calm him down and said that maybe Gloria just needed some time alone. At that moment, Samuel finally told Bernie about Gloria's illness. Hearing the story just now made Bernie shed tears. Even though he was nobody, he had considered Gloria as her own child. Days after, Gloria had returned home yet, and that made Samuel worried. Every time he called, Kristen never picked up. On the other hand, Kristen and Gloria were spending time together. They were hanging around eating Gloria's favorite cake and doing the usual things mothers and daughters do until one night Samuel walked into Kristen's apartment and without hesitation told her that he wanted to take Gloria home, but Kristen forbade him. Since the presence of Gloria in her life, she felt that she could be a complete mother, and if Samuel still insisted on taking Gloria away, she would demand custody of Gloria in court. Hearing the threat, Samuel was not afraid at all. While carrying Gloria, who was asleep, Samuel said that he would fight her in court for Gloria. On their way home, Samuel repeatedly apologized to his daughter. Even though he knew that all of his lies for all these years could not be forgiven, he did it just to make Gloria happy. Without him realizing it, Gloria was not asleep at all and heard everything he said. Days later, the trial for Gloria's custody began. At the trial, Kristen tried to convince the judge that Gloria will be happier if she lives with her biological mother. After all, Kristen's boyfriend also loved Gloria like his own child, so later Gloria will definitely be able to get full love from a mother and a father figure. After Kristen finished talking, it was now Samuel's turn. He told the judge about the first time Kristen left Gloria. Samuel had mixed feelings. She was afraid, angry, disappointed, and confused and wanted to express his emotions. But when he saw the baby grow, slowly but surely, his feelings began to change. He would let Gloria skip school if she wanted to. He would take Gloria to the amusement park to make her happy. He even turned his house into an amusement park just to satisfy her. He worked very hard to the point he often fainted from exhaustion just to be able to make his daughter happy. For him, Gloria was the only thing he had in this world. With teary eyes, Samuel begged the judge not to take away his little angel from his life. Samuel's words touched everyone. After considering it for a long time, the judge finally decided that Gloria's custody fell on Samuel. Hearing the judge's decision, Samuel was so happy. He hoped that his life with Gloria would return like the old days before Kristen came. A few weeks passed and Samuel and Gloria's relationship began to improve. In order to be closer to her daughter, Samuel decided to change his job to become an art teacher at Gloria's school. That day, while teaching, he got a call from his lawyer informing him that Kristen had secretly carried out a DNA test, and from the test results, it turned out that Gloria was not Samuel's biological child. The next day, all parties returned to see the judge, and after reading the DNA test results, the judge had to revoke Gloria's custody from Samuel and gave it to Kristen, meaning that day would be his last day with Gloria, and he had to let Kristen take Gloria away from him by the next day. If he still detained Gloria, he would be sentenced to jail. Hearing the judge's words, Samuel couldn't help but hold back his sadness. After the trial, Kristen apologized to Samuel for what happened. She was just curious and decided to do a DNA test. She also found out that Samuel was not Gloria's biological father. The next day, while packing Gloria's things, Samuel tried to slowly explain what really happened to her innocent daughter. Shortly thereafter, Kristen came to pick her up. Outside, Bernie was also present to say goodbye. In the car, when Gloria was about to leave, she kept looking at the house until suddenly, she came out of the car and ran into the house to hug her father. While smiling, Gloria said that she wanted to stay with Samuel forever. When Kristen and Bernie went inside the house to look for Gloria, it turned out that there was no one inside. She jumped to the conclusion that Bernie and Samuel had plotted to take her daughter from her. She threatened to report both of them to the police if Bernie refused to tell her where Samuel took her daughter. Hearing the threat made Bernie mad. He shouted at Kristen while revealing the sad truth about Gloria's health condition and begged Kristen to allow his best friend to spend time with Gloria just for a little while because Gloria actually won't live much longer. After yesterday's incident, for the sake of her daughter's happiness, Kristen decided to give in and hand over Gloria's custody to Samuel. She even allowed Samuel to take Gloria to France. Both Samuel and Gloria spent their time having fun together all the time. Once a week, Kristen and Bernie came to visit them both. Every minute, Samuel always made good memories with Gloria. He promised that he would continue to make Gloria happy until the end of time, and finally, Samuel managed to keep his promise. A few weeks later, Gloria finally breathed her last. Samuel was very sad to lose his little princess. From now on, he had to live the days alone without being able to see the smile on his little angel's face, but even so, he was grateful for his last moments with Gloria, because he could carve beautiful memories together, and those memories would always be remembered forever.